Hey everyone, my name is Sean Arnold and I wanted to make a deck guide on how to build a deck effectively with the new version update to Paragon. Since version 42, we are now in version 42.1, but since version 42, the system changed quite dramatically and how to build your deck is quite different from what it used to be. Now there's been a lot of people that haven't liked the new system or felt struggle trying to kind of get used to it, and I wanted to kind of just make a video to kind of share and help more people so that people can enjoy the new style of game. Before we talk about building a deck specifically, I want to talk about how the deck system has changed and how the hero system has changed overall. Previously in Paragon, when you picked a hero, your hero was balanced and tuned in a way so their deck would allow them to fulfill the potential to fulfill their role. That meant that a caster hero like Belaka, she had really good ability damage scaling, and if you had a deck that helped her build ability damage, you would then become a good caster. What the downside was that it wasn't always clear on how to build your hero. Some heroes are quite easy to build, like someone like Belaka is very easy to build. You just put in power, she does more ability damage. But heroes like Steel weren't necessarily very clear. Steel is a tank style hero, but there are many different tanky stats. You could build HP, you could build ability armor, you could build basic armor, you could have some other kind of tools to reduce damage, and it wasn't very clear on how to build that deck for all players. And therefore, even though you picked Steel to be a tank and your intentions are to tank, you were not going to be good at tanking if you didn't build a deck that complemented him very, very well. And you'll see this quite a lot. Even with DPS players, which DPS is quite easier because you just need crit, attack speed, and power. I would still see things like DPS players building crit before power when it's more efficient to build power, attack speed, and then crit. And it's just these little nuances which people didn't know and wasn't very clear to the players or made very clear by playing the game. And so that's been changed. The way that has been changed now is that your heroes are automatically going to scale with stats and power and whatever they need as they level up. So Lieutenant Belaka, you don't need to put power into her necessarily because she's got enough power in her field in order to be a really, really big threat. You can still build power, but you don't need as much as you did before in order to make her good at what she did. Similarly with Steel, Steel is now going to scale well with lots of armor, lots of HP, so that he can at least be good at being a tank. Not necessarily being amazing at being a tank, and that is down to you and how you build your hero through the other systems, but at least he's a bit more competent than before he was before. So it's more about when you pick your hero is going to fulfill their role regardless of what other choices you make. And those other choices you can make is the attribute system. With the attribute system, you choose one of three attributes. You either choose agility, vitality, or intellect. Agility is for offense, vitality is for defense, and intellect is for abilities. And you just choose that now and you focus on that as you're building your hero. And you now have the gem system which rewards you for doing so as you play along. Now, when we're building a deck, you want to choose a primary attribute and a secondary attribute. What's most effective right now is to kind of build into a single attribute at a time and therefore get your higher level gems and then build your secondary attribute cards later on. The exception to this rule may be Death, because Death is quite a good balance between intellect and agility, so maybe you want to build those at the same time. But regardless of that, in most situations you want to focus on either building all agility, building all vitality, or building all intellect so that you can get those higher level gems online ASAP. For example, if you are going to focus on agility and you want to go into chaos and build agility cards, then you will get, say, your multi-shot gem ASAP, or maybe you get something like lifesteal or critical hit charts ASAP, rather than, say, building agility and intellect, agility and vitality at the same time. So let's say we want to do a caster. Casters are very easy to do with this new system, and so we want to focus on intellect, and we want to have a secondary affinity to kind of go for that, and so we're going to choose Order, because Order has some good cards that complement intellect heroes. And so now we're going to go into our deck builder here, and so we've got all our cards. Now I know that new players may not have all the cards in the system. Don't worry, just keep playing the game, take your time to grind them out, but eventually there will come a point where you will have lots and lots of cards to choose from. Now, when picking, the first thing you want to do is you want to pick your end game hand. You want to pick what cards you have in the end game. And so I'm going to pick three cards here, three high level cards. I'm going to have Corrosive Walker, I'm going to have Sleeper Agent, and I'm going to choose Thaumaturge. Then you want to add up the stats from your end game hand. So in my end game hand I have 7 points from Thaumaturge, 10 from Sleeper Agent, which makes 17 intellect, and then Corrosive Walker has 8 intellect, which makes 25 intellect and 4 vitality. 25 intellect, 4 vitality. 25 intellect, 4 vitality. Once you've built your endgame hand, you want to make sure you keep in mind how much you need of each stat to work towards. And then we're going to go back and build our early game and our mid game hands. So, let's go all the way to the bottom. I'm going to build an early game hand. And whenever you pick your early game hand, the first card you always want to get is something with a stat into it. So we're going to focus on intellect. So we're going to go for Advanced Evolution because it has 1 point of intellect. Therefore, I get my level 1 gem online ASAP. And the secondary card we're going to have for that is a cheap card, Lamplighter, for some vision. And so now I'm going to pick this card here. Don't worry about what it is right now. I picked my first 3 early game hands. Next, I'm going to pick my mid-game hands, my next 3 cards for my mid-game. And in total, your mid-game hand should not cost you more than your end-game hand. It should be relatively progressive towards your end-game hand. So I'm going to pick something like Astral Leap, which allows us to teleport. Then I'm going to go for Soldier of Fortune, which gives us more money. And I'm going to wrap this up with, we've already got Thaumaturge. I'm going to go for a card which is higher than Thaumaturge, Atomic Soldier. And so we've got 8 points. 4 points, that's 12, 16 points. So when we have 16 intellect, we could buy these 3 cards if we wanted to. We've got a card that allows us to get around the map faster, a card that gets us more money, and a card which allows us to do more damage through Atomic Soldier. And so we've now selected 9 cards for our deck. We've got our end game hand, our middle game hand, and our late game hand. Now, when you are actually buying your cards in game, you can either play it in one of 2 ways. Either, A, you can buy all your early game cards, and then you can buy all your mid game cards, and then you can buy all your end game cards, and you can stop there. But what I actually tend to like to do more is I actually like to build 1 early game card, or maybe all my early game hand, then 1 middle game card at a time, and then 1 late game card at a time. And therefore I get those higher level cards earlier in the match, even though I won't fulfill my hand ASAP. So the path of progression would be something like, first we'll buy Advanced Evolution, then we'll go and grab Soldier of Fortune when we've got 4 points of intellect, then Thaumaturge when we've got 7 points, Atomic Soldier for 8 points, and then stop at Sleeper Agent for 10 points, because Sleeper Agent is one of the best cards for knowledge users. Then we go back to our second hand, or second card in our hand. We go back to level 1, buy our level 1 card, then buy the level 4 card, then buy the level 7 card, and then we'll probably stop at Atomic Soldier because it has 8, and we don't have the vitality to buy Corrosive Walker just yet. Corrosive Walker, of course, being the most expensive card, and we're still focusing on one attribute. Then we'll do our last card, and again, same process. Get your early game card, get a mid game card, and then stop at your end game card, Thaumaturge, and that makes 25 points of intellect. And then we're going to build our agility to get our last card here, Corrosive Walker, which will swap for Atomic Soldier. Now, we've only used 9 cards for our early game hand, our mid game hand, and our late game hand. And so we've still got 3 more cards to go. And these are called what I call my optional cards. My cards which are scenario specific. And there may be a lot of choices for you. There may not be. It all really depends on what your primary and your secondary affinity provides. Now, I chose Order because Order provides you with wards. So a secondary ward card which would be really good is Protective Sentry. This gives you an Armored Shadow ward, and therefore it provides some utility that you wouldn't get by building intellect alone. Another card which is really good, which doesn't cost any attribute points but costs money, is Power Tap. Power Tap builds power. It was broken in the previous version, but now it's been updated and should be fixed. And this gives you power for your hero, but you lose 4,000 gold when you use it. And then one more card which we could use could be something along the lines of, say, maybe like Stasis Gem. And Stasis Gem is really good for countering heroes who do lots of burst damage like Countess or Kalari. When they try to attack you, pop your gem, you're invincible for 2.5 seconds, and then you can carry on counter-attacking as you want to. And so now we have our 12 cards, and so we've built our hand like that. So just to say that one more time, you have your 3 early game hand cards. So first you build your end game cards, then you build your early game hand, and then you build your mid game hand, and you want to progress to 1 end game card at a time rather than to your whole hand at a time. Gems aren't too difficult. Gems are quite straightforward. If you want to build enough gems up to the amount of attribute points which you are going to need. Now in this deck we have 25 points of intellect, so that's going to work for all intellect gems. But if I had only say, or if I only needed say 21 points of intellect, then I wouldn't go up to a 25 gem because, or maybe I would, but maybe I wouldn't focus on going towards that, and maybe I'll put some points somewhere else in order to get as many gems online as possible. And so you just pick your gems as you want. Auto mana potion's good, and experience to level up faster, and then heat mana fountain to speed more sustainable. Don't worry, I'm just picking these at random. Reactive spells, no, we want something more like ruthless spells, and then overpowered spells. Read these, understand what they do. Typically the last 3 cards build a lot of damage in these builds, and then your for early game cards help you grow faster. And then our secondary gem will be something like healing towers when we build vitality, or something even better than that would be we only need 4 points, so no, healing quick exit would be really good. And so this is how you build a deck. That's it really. It's really quite straightforward, but what you've got to consider to yourself is, oops, I didn't mean to close that, is what you've got to consider to yourself is that it's no longer about building stats. That is still relevant to a degree. As you see on certain cards, we still have stats, we still have power, we still have attack speed, we still have health on them. And if you're building certain heroes like a tanky hero, then building stats is still quite relevant, but it's not as necessary as it used to be. And therefore, when you are building your hand, yeah, keep that in mind, and also consider the stats on the card too. But no longer are we in an era where it mattered on building, say, 12 points of power, then 12 points of armor, and then 12 points of health. That doesn't matter anymore. You just want to focus on building what cards you're going to build in the end game, then your early game, then your mid game, and you kind of want to create a path of progression as you level up. So that's really it. That's a basic guide here. I'm going to be making videos on different heroes and different roles and how to do decks for them. As you can see over here, I've been trying lots and lots of different decks, and I'm going to kind of share this with you, and hopefully you guys find it helpful. If you guys have found this helpful and you want to play Paragon with me sometime, my account is the Arnold's Play. Hit me up on PSN or at Epic Games website, and we'll play together sometime. I love playing up with people, and especially if you have a microphone, that's even better. But anyway, thank you for tuning into this video, guys. Hopefully it's been helpful to some of you. If so, let me know down below. If you have any questions, let me know in the comment section. And therefore, yeah, hopefully you can enjoy this really, really amazing game. Thank you for tuning in, and take care.